Greetings, beloved Princeton United Methodist Church community. It's Pastor Jenny with an update for you. I'm going to read today from Hebrews chapter 11, verses 1 and 2. And this is from the version called The Message. The fundamental fact of existence is that this trust in God, this faith, is the firm foundation under everything that makes life worth living. It is our handle on what we can't see. The act of faith is what distinguished our ancestors, set them above the crowd. This is the word of life. Thanks be to God. This coming Sunday is Halloween, and what a fun and fascinating day to have as a Sunday. It doesn't come around. I can't remember the last time Halloween fell on a Sunday. But this is a wonderful opportunity to remind you that the very next day, November 1st, is All Saints' Day, and Halloween in part comes from what we call All Hallows' Eve. These are joint holidays. It just worked out that the Halloween day became a very secular holiday in lots of ways, and All Saints' Day continued to be celebrated in the church. We are going to celebrate All Saints' Day on this coming Sunday, on Halloween, on All Hallows' Eve. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with All Saints' Day, this is one of my favorite days in the whole liturgical church year. It's the day that we get to celebrate all those who have gone before us. And much of the time we talk about that in terms of our ancestors in the faith, those people who have passed away, who are now part of the communion of saints, part of the cloud of witnesses, those people who are cheering us on and encouraging us and guiding us, even though they are not physically in the same dimension, the same earth, walking this earth in the same way that we continue to be. So it's a day that we remember the dead. It's the day that we remember those who we have loved, who have shaped us and who continue to shape us, who have loved us and continue to love us, even though they have passed on. And so we will be having a time in worship this Sunday, naming those names of the people who are beloved to us, especially those who have passed away in this past year. And but I don't think that All Saints' Day is reserved only for those who have passed away. So there are living saints in my world, and I know that there are in yours as well. Some that you know personally, who are part of your life day to day, some who maybe have been separated by distance from you for any number of reasons, COVID or just life. And some maybe are saints to you that you may have never met. In fact, they could be authors or artists or musicians or people you know kind of through somebody else. They may even be fictional characters for you, people who have helped to shape your faith and your life and your character and your values and your sense of self, that you have read about characters in novels or movies or any other sort of dimension that we want to talk about. So I encourage you to think this week as we move towards Sunday about who your ancestors in the faith are. We're going to be particularly talking on Sunday about how we are fed through mentorship, through people who have come into our lives, some that we've invited, some who have just happened to be there, thanks be to God, some who have maybe even inserted themselves into our lives in ways that we weren't sure we wanted at first, and who have proved anyway to be shapers of who we are and our faith. And so again, those are some of our ancestors in the faith. Those are some of our saints. Those are some of our communion of saints. So who has fed you in this way, particularly around matters of faith, around trusting in God, around being a disciple, around finding a prayer life, a life of discipleship? I am excited to hear some of who you are thinking about these days. I also want to put into context that we are in this time of year where we are focusing on our pledge campaign. Remember that our membership vows in the United Methodist Church are being faithful, upholding the Methodist Church, and Princeton United Methodist Church in particular, with our prayers, our presence, our gifts, our service, and our witness. And so we just had our charge conference. We are filling in our slate of officers leadership for the coming year. That's one of the ways that we serve and give of ourselves and our resources, our gifts that we've been given. On November 14th, we are going to have our Pledge Sunday. Prior to that, you're going to be receiving some materials in the mail and through our other means of communication as well that will help you, hopefully inspire you and hopefully invite you to make a pledge toward our budget for next year. All of that is about joining with us in our mission at Princeton United Methodist Church to be a diverse faith community who is seeking to enliven spiritually hungry, thirsty people so that we can be joyful disciples of Jesus Christ, responding to God's love and creating a sense of fullness, wholeness, experiencing the fullness of life all together. And so over these next few weeks, we're talking about feeding the flock, how we are the flock. We have been fed through God, through this particular thing called Princeton United Methodist Church. So a second question for you, in addition to your ancestors in the faith, how is God feeding you? And hopefully some of that's coming through Princeton United Methodist Church, the community, the studies, the worship, the experiences that you have, the resources, the tools that you get through our congregation. We would love for you to join in, invest in the vision and the mission of our church, and to help us thrive, continue to thrive, and to keep expanding God's vision and mission for us in the coming years ahead. So you'll be finding more information about that. We would love to hear how you are experiencing being fed, how you experience feeding others. I think as mentors and mentees, we do both of those things in there. When we serve, we're feeding and we're also being fed, hopefully at the same time. So we would love to hear from you about all of that. That's the big stuff I want to share with you. I'm going to skip talking about the KUMC-PUMC partnership this time. I'll come back to that next week. This has been long enough. Remember, friends, you are enough because God is enough. May you know that. May you know your belovedness today and every day. And I look forward to worshiping again with you on Sunday or sometime very soon. Grace and peace to you.